Hello, everybody. Oops, not just Sagittarius. I'm trying to get everything set up here. Here we go. Welcome to the Weekly Collective, everybody. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This little furry creature here is Apollo, and we're all wishing you lots of love and light. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I think I saw in the comments there's a Canadian holiday coming up, Canadian Thanksgiving. It's super early compared to the United States, but happy holidays to all those who are celebrating. And yeah, lots of love here from little Apollo. I'm going to put this sweet creature down here in the background so we can get started. And welcome everybody. Again, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is the Weekly Collective reading. This week, you guys chose a great, what's one of my favorite topics, is basically whatever you need to know. It's what Spirit wants to bring through. I call them Wildcard readings. And basically, this allows us to see challenges, opportunities, and maybe even the questions and things that we're afraid to ask. So great topic choice, everybody. I begin each and every one of my readings with channeled messages. I'm going to get this set up, but just a reminder, the collective is for everybody. That's what it means, basically. So except for the elemental forecast, all messages that I'm about to go through are for the benefit of everybody who showed up. So I hope that helps out. All right, so today, I actually woke up 2 or 3 times in the early morning with very specific kind of like vignette or sort of visions, not so much a totem per se, but I was getting messages about movement and things to focus on. I saw what was like a paradigm shift, a revolving door, and I also saw luggage, but let's get into the specifics of these and hopefully that yields a little bit more clarity on what you need to focus on. So the first thing that I picked up on was like almost like an exodus or escape or just basically a decision to move on. And what I felt was there was a lack of integrity or a lack of feeling supported by whatever it is that you were walking away from. So shutting a door to the past with a person, with maybe an organization or with a way of thinking where it just wasn't sustainable. I actually think this is quite good to release that, because especially if you feel like someone doesn't have your best interest or the collective best interest at heart, or they lack integrity, because basically that stuff is going to end up catching up with them, and you really don't want to be a part of that. So this is a chance for you to connect with people that you truly feel are in the same energetic frequency. And it's basically time to go in out with the old, in with the new. And here's what I noticed. So this space, it was like a common area. I couldn't tell if it was an office, a living room, or just a common space. It looked like people had already gone through and taken things. It was kind of empty, but not completely. And I could see some things hanging, and sort of like when a business closes down and they're like, oh, go ahead and take the stuff, and there's just a few things left. What Spirit was basically saying was take only what's necessary and maybe don't take much at all, because we don't need a lot of trappings of the past. The fool travels lightly. So whatever next chapter you have in your life, you don't need to take everything. Speaking from experience, I probably released too much, but I had to move a lot last year. I kind of walked the path of the fool for, 6 months while I was trying to find this place, which I've almost been at for 1 year. But I gave away or donated or sold or just recycled a lot of things because I realized I had been carrying it with me for like decades. And when I looked at it, I thought this just isn't my energy anymore. I'd rather have space than have stuff occupying the space that didn't resonate with me. So there may be people, there may be things, there may be ways of being or thinking that are in your life. This is a time, this week in particular, to walk the path of the fool, where you are not anchored down by all that stuff. And ultimately, I got that this could help you with happiness, mental health, and kind of when you are in that energy of being untethered, it's almost like the sky's the limit then. So moving out of something and not carrying with you too much baggage. These are the 2 big takeaways from all the dreams that I had last night. And I hope that resonates. And now let's get into the 7-day forecast, which is going to help you navigate the immediate 7 days in front of you. I think I'm going to use one of my favorite decks for this. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see you. Again, I hope you're doing well today. And let's look at the 7 days ahead of us. So good to see people from across the world. I saw someone saying how refreshing that is. I agree. That's one of the things that I love about what we do here each and every week. It's a great chance to connect and unite and remind ourselves that we're all walking in the same sort of energy each and every week. So thanks, by the way, to all those that are giving back with super stickers, with gifted memberships, with just being present. I do appreciate that. Thanks to Dakota for calling that out while I'm doing what I'm doing here. Okay, here we go, folks. Let me just get into the day markers so that we can keep track of all of this. And all right, let's begin with this Sunday. It's a really good energy. The King of Wands is coming through. This is an opportunity basically to get on top of things. This is a card of leadership. It's boss energy, but it's also highly imaginative and innovative. So if you are feeling kind of stuck or uncertain in any part of your life, this card comes through as a reminder and as a encouragement from Spirit that you have the wherewithal to figure it out, to sort it out and think about what's next. It's also reminding you that in the next chapter of your life, definitely the next week, it's a time to take a little bit more charge, accountability, speak up a little bit. Again, definitely connecting with all of the boss energy here. And today, the other thing you can do when we're talking about the imaginative piece is give yourself permission to dream and think really outside of the box. What do you want to do next? I talked about this before, but when I was getting my graduate degree, it was like the very last day. And I turned in my thesis and all this stuff. Everything was fine, but I was talking to one of my advisors and he said, "So what are you going to do with your life?" And it kind of took me off guard. He says, "What do you want to do for your career? Do you have a job lined up?" And all these important questions. And you get so razor focused on what's right here, right now. And I'm like, I really wish you would have asked me that question about 2 years ago. But he was cool. He picked up the phone, made a call, and actually helped me get my first job. Super rare, but it worked out and it was great. But that still wasn't my path. And obviously I took a winding path to end up with where I'm at right now. I'm encouraging you today to think about what that professor had asked me, but way in advance of having to make the decision of walking through the revolving door, which could also represent, one of the milestones in life that we have. So think about what's next week, next year, what's the next decade going to look like. Don't get in your headspace. I think we had the 7 of Cups today for the daily card. So we don't want you to overthink. I really want you to just dream. Go into the dreaming thing. Like, what do I want? Not what do people expect of me, and then allow for this card to kind of lead you there. Okay, let's take a look at Monday. We have the 3 of Swords coming through. This is a chance for you to basically overcome fear, anxiety, and there may be an initial thing that comes through that's a little bit disappointing, but past the 3 of Swords is rest and peace, the 4 of Swords. And so we often have to have like an agitation moment to realize what we don't want, what we don't need, and it helps us get out of it. So if you feel that agitation or that friction, think of what happens like when you're in the car. I was talking to, I think, Taurus about this. But if there's friction, you slow down, you see what's causing this, what's going on. So pay attention to where things are agitated or where there's a lack of movement or where you feel like you don't want to be anymore. You're going to get a clear indication of what needs to be released on Monday. This is not the best day for conflict resolution. This is a great day, however, for self-care. So if you want to take a day off, if you want to get a massage, if you want to sleep in, if you need to ask for support or lean on people, all of those things will help. So focus on healing, self-care, and avoid unnecessary conflict or conversations. It's a good day for you, focusing on you. All right, so that was Monday. Let's move on to Tuesday. We have the Fool, which I featured in the second slide this morning. So this is really encouraging you to take the first step, to walk away from something if you need to. And I was recounting a story to one of my close friends about how difficult it was for me to leave my last corporate job and start doing what I'm doing here. And human resources at the time said, you're walking away from your career. if I had a little bit more preparation and like if I could transport this brain back into that moment, I would say, no, I'm actually walking towards my dream. So I'm walking away from one thing, but towards the bigger, better picture of what I'm trying to do on this planet. So the Fool isn't always walking away. Sometimes they're walking towards. So what are you walking toward this moment in time? What are you going to do to take the first step? I always look at the rose here that she's carrying. It reminds me a lot of the rose on the Death card. So it's a new beginning. Death was the ending. The Fool is the beginning. Okay. So Tuesday is a great day to start something new, to initiate, to launch, to explore, to get out of your old habits. One of the things that the Fool is doing is walking. I like this one because she's like, take me or leave me. And she's just taking her first step. The little dog is in the background. It took me a while to see the puppy back there. So the dog reminds you also to look where you're going and to stop to have some fun, to smell the roses. All right, midweek, we have the Four of Swords. So these two cards are complementary. Whatever seemed like it might have been really, really difficult on Monday, it sorts itself out by midweek. And so we have rest, relaxation, the ability to dream and see beyond. And she's really connected to the fourth sword, which in and of itself is an ace. So this is very close to the traditional Three of Swords, where you'll see three swords above and one beneath. Here we just have her laying against it like the headboard. This is what happens when you rest. You become refreshed. You get a new insight. You're able to take action. So from this dis-ease or discomfort comes this ability now to say, I don't want that, but I want this. Clarity comes through in the midweek, okay? So, and there's a nice dreamy quality to this. I love all of the sort of amethyst colors that we see here. So, I believe in color therapy too. So if you want to wear protective purples and lavenders and aubergine and all of that, this is a great day to put that energy into your wardrobe, or you could put, again, amethyst jewelry on if you have it. Work with an amethyst crystal. I have one in the other room. I usually keep it here, but it's in my living room. All right, so that was midweek. I feel like you're going to be at peace. Let's put it that way. Take it easy. This isn't a day to embark on a new trip. This isn't unless you've already got plans, but just try to make sure you're getting enough sleep. That's the other thing with this. Make sure you're rested. That's going to help quite a bit. All right, moving on to Thursday. We have the Eight of Cups. You'll notice if we look at this in the upright position, there's always space to return, but the person needs to move away from this a little bit, get perspective. There's an overdue break that some of you are needing, and this is the day to take it. And it's also saying before you land on a decision, whether big or small, like if you can't sleep on it, Wednesday would be a great day to sleep on a big decision. But sometimes we don't get that ability. Sometimes people need it right here, right now. You could say, give me 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes to consider. Go take a walk, get a coffee, talk to a friend, whatever you need to. Get a little perspective. But if you can take a day or if you can take a night and really consider a decision before moving forward, you'll be better for it, because you will not be caught up in the emotion or in the sort of impulse of the moment. And if you feel the same way 12 to 24 hours later, it's probably the right path to take. And that's what this is about, getting distance, perspective, and then coming back if you feel like it. Now, this can also be second chances. So if you didn't achieve something before, try it again. This is a good day to do it. If you need to shut a door completely, or if you need to make sure that you're absolutely clear on something, don't leave room for interpretation. If you need to say a hard and fast no, say that, rather than kind of beating around the bush. It's better to be very clear in your language, okay? That's Thursday. But I think this day is a good day for offsite or offsite activities, working away from somebody, just kind of getting out in your own energy a little bit. Now we have a very communicative card here, the Page of Swords. This is Friday, and this is a great chance to get back into a group, talk to other people, share your insights, listen, communicate, write. I mean, it's like a wonderful communication card, very open. What I like about pages when we're looking at court cards is much more approachable, much more relatable for all of us. It's just about talking and listening and communicating and recording all of that stuff. So all of those things are good. hold a meeting, talk to a friend, send an email, send a text, make a phone call. You have a good chance of being heard. You're going to have a great chance of understanding other people. And it's also going to help. You can also talk to someone if you have a lot on your mind. So a therapist, a doctor, a friend, basically letting things flow through you rather than letting them build up in here or in here. Okay. Good day for communication. Good day for making a breakthrough. Now we have the Knight of Wands as we're looking at next weekend. The Knight of Wands is in the reverse space. So a reverse state, I should say. When it's reversed, what you want to do is take a moment, and you're always allowed to reconsider. And this really is a moment for you to say, is this what I want? Or you can also make sure that you understand something. It's saying slow down just a little bit. And it's okay to question authority too. Because this is, when we get into the upper wands cards like the Queen and the King, you have a lot of insights this week. So if it doesn't align with what you want to do, ask a question. Pump the brakes here a little bit and say, okay, wait a second, before I take the next step, am I in alignment? Just like you have to have your tires in alignment. Am I in alignment with this, or is there something that I don't like or understand? I think one thing that didn't necessarily come through in the cards, but it was so clear in my dreams, is integrity. Do I trust the person? Are they doing something wrong or right? Or, if any of that is coming through, this is the day to get clarity on it, okay? Just slow down a little bit, and it doesn't even have to be a communication. It can just be a sort of mental click like, yeah, okay, we're on board. We're on the right page, all right? As we get to a week from today, looking at next Sunday, we have the Knight of Cups in the upright position. I love this peacock. It's an albino peacock, but it's basically saying be unique, show your true colors, and don't be afraid to also show who you are. It's so interesting in nature how it's usually all the male birds in particular, but same thing with like a lion or whatever. But typically the males of the species have like all the colors and accoutrements and everything, and it's kind of like reversed in humans for some reason. But anyway, be yourself and show all of your true colors. This might be a really great day for meeting another person. So whether it's friend, family, or love, relationship energy is coming through really strong a week from today. But also a knight can go out there into the world and share what they have with others. So if you want to make pitch an idea or put your best foot forward, this is a great day for all of those sort of things. Creativity, sensitivity, love, social, love, energy as well, all of that, okay? And I'm looking at all this sort of Piscean energy at the bottom. So if any of you know Pisces, they may be coming into your life a little bit stronger that day as well. So overall, highlights and lowlights of the week, it's actually pretty manageable. The only challenge, I should say, when we're looking at a lowlight is probably Monday. And it really is just taking care of yourself, making sure you're not getting burned out for sure. We have two cards here that are very similar. This is more emotional. This is more your body. And even this one, we really want to focus on rest, activity, and emotional stability towards the beginning of the week. Everything else is really good. I would say today is a highlight. It looks like Friday is a highlight, and I would say Sunday. Today because you can wrap your head around things. Friday because you can help people understand what it is that you want because your communication skills are off the charts. And then next Sunday because people really want to be around you because you have that really engaging energy of the Knight of Cups. And that, my friends, is the weekly forecast there with the next 7 days. So let me just get everything arranged here, and we're going to go into the elemental forecast next. And basically the way that the elemental forecast works is we're going to take a look at all of the earth, air, water, and fire, and basically put the 3 signs under each. All right, so let me just get some space on the table. And let's see, I might use a different deck for this. What do I want to use? Okay, we'll do this one. Okay. So let's take a look at the elements here. This is the only piece that is sign specific. Thanks so much for the folks that are gifting memberships, that are giving back with stickers. You guys make it possible for me to do extra videos. So thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Fire, earth, air, and water. We have a lot of reversals. I'm just going to read them upright and talk about what could be causing some of the delays this week. All right, we're going to start first with fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. The Hermit in reverse is basically the opposite of what you see here. This is a time for you to get out of your shell, to share your wisdom and your insight, not to keep your mouth shut, to speak up and to speak out, and sometimes to close the book or the laptop. And it's basically saying many of you have what you need as far as wisdom and resources and information, and it's more about the application of it than continuing to study. It's the reason that most of us graduate from whatever school that we are at and get out into the world. It's like at some point you've learned enough theory and you have to put it to practice. And that's really what this card is saying. How are you going to put things to practice this week? And don't be afraid to be seen. You can see she's wearing the star as her talisman right around her heart space here. So normally the Hermit has a lantern which has that same star within it. So she's ready, but it's just about taking that first step. That's why the Fool came through. So midweek would be a great time for this Hermit reverse to come out, show their true colors, show their insight, speak up, and make a splash. I will say this to all of my fire signs. This is such a great card to come through for anybody because it's nobody's fool, basically. The Hermit is very, very capable of taking care of themselves. They're wise, they're independent, and the only thing that sometimes needs to happen is feeling comfortable in your own skin, taking off the cloak of the Hermit and just being seen, okay? So that's my encouragement for this week for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now let's move on to Earth, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So we have the Three of Pentacles. The card is reversed. This is also a great card. Typically, it shows that whatever it is that you're working on, you're very, very close to recognition, to completion. And it's typically about putting final details on things. So for those of you that might be working on a proposal, a thesis, a home improvement project, this is more about, like, for a home improvement project, it literally would be just sort of cutting the corners and putting a little bit of extra paint here or, buffing something up there. It's final touches, not like deep in the weeds sort of stuff. So you're closer than you think, and you maybe shouldn't be you shouldn't be like redoing something at the last minute. It's pretty close. Couple things here, you're done. This is a card of recognition. If the recognition doesn't happen immediately, that doesn't mean that you're not deserving of it or ready for it. It just means that you have to sort of focus on the integrity and the vision of something and trust that that will happen when it will happen. Sometimes people are way ahead. This happens in music and in fashion, but it also happens in literature. So things sometimes aren't always kind of understood when they're released, but they can be picked up years later and then be like a smash hit. So just do what's right, not what's popular. It'll have more staying power if you do that. For those of you that are writers or are working on something important, again, this could just be about soliciting one last level of approval or insight and applying that little thing, and then you're ready to go. This is also a card of higher training or education. So if you're seeking that and looking at going for it, this is a great time to apply or to begin that, okay? Across the board, quite like what I see here for Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Let's move on to my air signs out there, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Don't overthink it, folks. We have the Judgment card in reverse. You already know what to do. For many of you, it feels like there could be some fear surrounding this. I think a lot of what I was getting in my my channeled messages, my dreams, is particularly for air. Judgment is resurrection, reinvention, rebirth, basically not repeating the past. So you're clear now. Whatever it is in the past that didn't work out, maybe there was a misstep, a mistake, a failure, a perceived failure. I don't really believe in that. I believe that it was context that will help you do something even better this time. So go into what your heart is saying. Like if you feel you want to go down this path or you need to walk away from this path, honor that. And the Fool, again, coming through midweek, is saying take the step that day. Some of you are being called to do something different, to go counter to what was expected, or to just to explore something you never considered before. And Judgment is about answering the call. The cool thing with Judgment is it typically doesn't mean that you have to arrive at a decision. It's more about making peace with the decision that's in your heart. And maybe accepting that you can't control other people's decision making, because judgment's already been laid out there. So you're just releasing your judgment on someone else's decision. You're not worrying about what other people think of you, very close to the air signs there. I'm sorry, to the, was I looking at the earth signs prior to this? So earth and air, you're not worried so much about popularity. You're focused on, am I happy? Is this what I want? And this is a chance to rise above any challenge or misstep or mistake, okay? Now let's move on to water, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Pretty good week for you. We have the King of Pentacles. Yes, the card is reversed, but it's still a very favorable card. In the reverse state, the King of Pentacles is focusing on self-improvement, managing their own resources, asking for things. Sometimes it's difficult to be the person that's saying, I need some help here, or you feel guilty when you decide to do something that is for your benefit. This is a time to focus on you. It's okay. And this is going to give you the foundation to be able to help others first. Don't be afraid to speak up if you don't have enough of something. This is really talking about money and resources and time. So if you find yourself short on that because you're doing the lion's share of the work, then speak up. And because this is the ultimate card here in the suit, you have a really good chance of getting people's attention and maybe affecting change in a positive way. The only thing that you want to be mindful of with King of Pentacles in reverse is not overindulging. Both the King of Pentacles and Cups in different ways can overindulge, but King of Pentacles can spend too much, can eat too much, can also work too much. So we want to try not to go to extremes this week, and I think that will help you out. But ultimately, he's also sitting at the top of the resources. So if you need something or want something, you can probably make it happen this week. All right. So if you just joined, welcome. We're going to be moving on to the special topic next. Do me a favor, if you're enjoying this, hit the like and subscribe if you're brand new. Thanks in advance to everybody that's been given back with super stickers and super chat. I'll call you guys out a little bit later. Okay, so we're moving on to, not that, to the special topic today. So the special topic is Wildcard. And Wildcard is basically whatever the universe needs or wants us to hear. And I think it's good to do these periodically, every couple of months, just to kind of make sure that we're not missing something as a collective as we choose some of the topics. So let me see which deck I want to use for this. I'm going to use this one. Okay, let's get started, folks. Again, this is for everybody that's present today. What do we need to hear? What should we be focusing on? We've got the Judgment card coming through again. Zoom in a little bit. We had a card that stuck to that. That was so bizarre. So I'll just leave that there. I'm like, what are you doing there? All right. Hey, Apollo, welcome back, bud. All right, let's get started here. We're going to begin with the Catalyst card. The Catalyst, of course, is a great way for you to create some movement. We have a turtle. I would actually associate the turtle with the Hermit. Possibly the Hermit or the Fool. The reason is because it carries everything it needs with it. So basically, its house is its shell. So it could be the Fool, but it can also be the Hermit because it can kind of retract into that shell whenever it needs support. So this is a week where you might be kind of sort of going back into the old habit of retreating. The turtle is just about making slow movement. So as a Fool card, it's an unusual one because each step is slow and methodical, and it really has to sort of pace itself energetically, but it will make progress. And then with respect to the self-reliance, everything it needs is right there. This could also be connected with the world because in some world religions, the earth is like a turtle or the tortoise back. So you also are able to expand, but the expansion speed is slower. The movement is slower. Be patient with yourself. So I see a turtle as a multifaceted and multidimensional kind of totem because it carries with it like 3 different major arcana cards: the Fool, the Hermit, and the World. And they're at different ends of the spectrum. The Fool is the beginning. The Hermit is kind of, it's within the first quarter or third here. And then when things do pick off, when they do take off, rather, they take off quickly. So there you go. I do love turtles. I think it's a great totem, and it's basically also asking you to be patient with yourself and patient with movement. As Apollo's digging in the background. Yes, I'm talking about you, buddy. All right, let's move to your center card. We have the Prince of Cups, which is really about moving yourself forward, following your, I like the playful energy here, but it's following your emotions and saying, this makes me happy, this is what I want to do. So you have permission, you have encouragement from the universe this week to do what your heart says you need to do. This is a really great time to focus more on relationships and emotions, especially if you've been in a very practical, pragmatic, sort of focused zone. Are you happy? It's really what Spirit's coming through, because the special topic is what Spirit needs you to know. Spirit is saying it's your divine right to be happy. Are you happy? Spirit is also bringing through inspiration, and it's asking, are you listening? Are you open? Are you receptive? All of these court cards in cups are about being able to make a connection with the divine. So we're like one step up from the page here. So it's saying, are you ready? Because things are going to start to take off if you are. Crossing that card, we have Judgment, or the Eon in this particular deck. And this again is saying, once you know who you are and what you want to do, then things start to really get exciting. And it's saying, do you know yourself? And are you trusting in what your heart and head is saying to do? So the first one is, are you happy? And the second one is, are you listening? Are you listening to the signs that I'm providing? Are you listening to what you already know to be true? And if so, what steps are you taking to act upon that? And they don't have to be immediate, it doesn't have to be immediate gratification. It's just one slow step at a time. Spirit's happy with that as long as there's some movement. So I like that. I think that this is kind of interesting because I think in this deck, this is a combination of Rider-Waite-Smith and Thoth. So I believe the Thoth world card is Universe or something. So anyway, we're just one step away from that expansion here too. 21 is the world. So it's just now, once you've decided to make it happen, then it's almost like things start rushing in, okay? What's coming through karmically or in the past for you? Well, there has maybe been a sort of karmic challenge with trying to please everybody. The Two of Pentacles starts to learn that it's difficult, if not impossible, to be everybody's friend, to do the popular thing, to make everything work, to be everywhere at once. In order to be happy, successful, and effective, you have to say no occasionally. You have to make some hard and fast decisions. And this is a period of time where that reckoning kind of is really coming together. So Spirit is saying, that's why Judgment was at the center. it's time to make a choice, but you've already made the choice. It's very Oracle from the Matrix. She's like, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you realize why you made the decision. So I'm here to help you realize that and also encourage you to move forward. You already know who to say yes to, who to say no to. You already know what you want to do more. You already know what you don't want to do. So today you tuned into this live stream, or you're watching this on replay, so that you can do it. And that's the encouragement from Spirit there. You'll be very happy once you do it. So we have the 9 of Cups in reverse here, and this is just a big old emotional release. In the upright, it's usually happiness and celebration. It can be a heavy card sometimes when reversed. There can be sadness, stress, frustration, fear. It can be a lot. And this is saying, let it go, make the decision, and then try to have some fun and be playful with whatever might be coming through next. And I think this is really important just for general happiness, general sort of mental stability. And then the other thing here is, I see you're skipping across the water, but the word skip came to mind. Don't skip the fun stuff in life. So if you have a chance to hang out with a friend, if you have a chance to do something that brings that joy and satisfaction, remember that the Knight of Cups was at the center. So this is a time to really embrace that and make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to enjoy. Avoid extremes. I will say that with this again. You want everything in moderation is key. Let me take a drink and then we're going to talk about the High Priestess. All right, thank you for that. High Priestess. Of course, she's a great card for creativity, intuition, and power. She came through reversed, and the main thing here is like, why second guess what's coming through? If you feel really, really keen on something, or really, really not so keen on something, I want you to follow that intuition. If you are having recurring dreams, hopes, or thoughts about something, really start to do the investigation and figure out how you can bring that into being. This is a card of manifestation, and it's saying, don't manifest fears or anxieties, manifest possibilities. And she stands there at the doorway, and I saw a revolving door in dreams. So she's at an archway more specifically. But she's basically saying, let's open up to the possibilities and let's walk toward that. So Spirit is asking you, if you're afraid of something, why are you afraid, and what can you do to sort of diffuse the fear? Usually getting some information on something, getting some support, moral or otherwise, will help you with that. If you have a thought that is negative, I always talk about pulling it into a possibility. So I can't, why can't I? I think I can, I will, I am. Move yourself through that, and it's a step at a time. It's not going to all happen in one moment. But you basically take the negative into a question, you figure out how to solve the question, and then you move to an affirmative. And the turtle is going to help the High Priestess move towards that possibility. Think about possibilities, not just about the negatives. It's good to prepare. And if you see something that you need to prepare for, the High Priestess helps prepare you for that. But she's not here. So intuitives, you see good and you see not so good. I want you to focus on possibilities too. We don't just want to put the scrying mirror towards what's going to go wrong. Now it's time to take pen to paper. Now it's time to put the telephone to your mouth, and you're going to make things happen. Because the Ace of Swords is a little bit of both. Walk the walk and talk the talk. You have to be able to communicate it. You have to be able to live it. You have to be able to... It's also like taking a match. This is more Ace of Wands than Ace of Swords, but the two of them together. It's kind of like taking a match and lighting something. You have to make that first action happen. So this is really about initiation this week, getting it started. And it could simply be a question to somebody. What do you think about this? Not putting any judgment into this. One thing to be really mindful of is self-deprecating language. So in a meeting or in a day-to-day conversation, avoid things like saying, I may not know much about this, or I know I'm not an expert, but bleh, stop it. Just put a thought out there. Say, I have an idea. This is what it is. Are you open to that? Very non-judgmental, very, You're not building yourself up. You're not cutting yourself down. Just say what you have to say. Let judgment happen. If let the other person get their own judgment on it. Never put out self-deprecating stuff. You don't need to do that. So, and never feel like you don't have a seat at the table. In other words, you have a chance to speak up, say what you need to say, let other people say what they need to say. Everybody listens, then judgment can happen. That's my advice on that. Okay? Speak without prejudice, listen without prejudice. Okay, here's how you're showing up. Great. Absolutely great. This is a good card to represent self. So we have 9 of Pentacles, very capable, very independent, very abundant. The only thing kind of missing from this card is that last sort of pentacle to get to the 10 of Pentacles. So what you can do is be open and receptive to opportunity or resources that want to come in. Be open to asking for help if you need assistance. And basically, I like that this person's taking time to smell the flowers. So if you've worked really, really hard to get something done, take a moment now to enjoy and to reap the benefits. It's a really good card across the board here. The only thing missing from this one is we got it with the turtle. Usually there's a garden snail in this one, but what I like in this is all of the sunflowers. The boss energy that we saw it was King of Wands, right, earlier? You would normally see the Queen of Wands having the sunflower on her crown or on her on the throne that she's on. So the leadership that we already saw today is coming through with this. So don't be afraid to talk about money this week. Don't be afraid to talk about getting some assistance. You don't have to do everything. And you have the ability to gain the support that you need, okay? All right, so in the environment, push back. By the way, I'm so happy that we've got both the Judgment and the World card here, and it was the universe, that was right. Okay, environment first. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Nicholas. We have the 7 of Wands. You can do anything that you set your mind to this week. However, you might have one too many things on your plate. We can see her trying to kind of like, it's always a card of like pushing back and trying to, it's almost like a juggling thing too. Okay, I'll take that, I'll do this. So you don't need to work that hard all the time. Feel free to let go of one of those. If you let go of one of those, you've got the 6 of Wands. Feel free to bring on some additional resources. You bring on one more resource or set of assistance, then you're in the 8 of Wands, which is forward momentum. So work smarter, not harder, push back, say no, hold your ground. And if you need to defend yourself, speak up, etc., you have a really good chance of being successful. This is a good card for negotiation. So when we're looking at the bossy energy that I got for today, that would be good. And even like next Sunday, when I got the Cups card there too, either of those 2 days, so today or a week from today, are really good for having important conversations because you're coming across well and you can push out your idea and just really be in a good space. So I love that. Okay, now let's take a look at hopes, fears, and opportunities. So some of you are just a little bit nervous about what's next. So the universe, aka the World card, and basically this is the last card in the major arcana, that's opening the door and stepping out into the big old universe here. I think this is the Nataraj as illustrated here, but there's a dance of creation and destruction that goes on sometimes with the universe, and that's kind of part of it anyway. Like the World card is shutting one door, opening another door. So basically Spirit is saying there are no ends, just doorways to new beginnings. In order to kind of like allow for something new to start, we have to, it's kind of like a snake. It has to shed its skin, right? But it didn't stop, it's growing, it sheds its skin to grow. So that old shape still exists, but now it's something bigger and something more expansive. So are you ready to shed your skin this week? Because this is a chance for you to really, to become more than you thought you could be, okay? And the universe, the nature of the universe, at least as we presently understand it, is that it is in a constant state of expansion. So you really don't want to go contrary to that. This is not about contraction, it's about expansion. So if there's anything that's trying to push you back into a box or back into that old snakeskin, it's not going to work. It won't fit. It's like an old piece of clothing from when you were a kid. and now you're, several inches or feet taller. You just can't fit into that old coat that you wore in the 7th grade or something. So same thing kind of goes in here. That's not, you're a different person, mind, body, and spirit. This is such a good card overall, though, because it's saying opportunity is knocking. So are you ready to answer that opportunity that's knocking at the door? Now let's take a look at your outcome card. We have the 10 of Wands. It is reversed, and it's saying you don't have to carry the load all by yourself anymore. So I do like how well this person is balancing the load. Typically, the 10 of Wands is just a smidge more burdened. You'll see the person carrying all 10 wands looking like worse for the wear. So one thing that she's learned is how to manage. She's a very good, she's learned the Queen and King of Wands energy already here. But she's like, I don't need to do this all the time, every day anymore. So it is about like releasing. And also understanding that it's kind of like releasing some of the perfectionist vibes that some of you might be doing. Like, I have to this and this and that. Just let go of some of that. Know when enough is enough and put it down and focus on the next big step of the journey. Okay? Now we will look at the expanded forecast. We're going to take a deeper dive here into health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to begin with the energy around health, which is your mind, your body, and your spirit. And as we look at this, we have a really cool card here around protection. So we have the Shield Maiden. She's basically saying, make plans and focus. And so it's kind of razor focused whenever I see, because she's got the sword there, like a king, queen of swords energy sort of in reverse, it's really saying speak up and take some action now. So with respect to health, speak up and take some action now. The shield portion is also about making sure that you're doing what you need to protect yourself and the people that you love. And then when we're looking just at mental acuity, focus, for some of you, this could be the challenge. It's like the 7 of Cups energy that I talked about earlier. 7 of Cups is good for dreaming, but it can also be confusion. So if you're confused, speak up. If your mind is wandering, try to limit what you're focusing on so that there's not so many distractions. This could also be in your environment as well. So one thing that I've been doing in here is I got a bunch of organizational, there's a place called the Container Store. So I got a bunch of things for my closet. I'm putting everything in a nice order, really getting rid of any sort of excess stuff so that the energy flows nice and freely. And it's amazing how therapeutic organizing can be. So get rid of your clutter, mental or or environmental, and see if that doesn't help you out a little bit too. All right, let's specifically look at some of the cards here and see if there's some other things. There's a move for some of you that's already underway, and that really connects with what I was seeing in dreams. I saw it could be an end of a job, because I definitely got the work vibe, but it could also be the last moments before leaving a place. I did this a few times last year. One time, for those of you that have been watching a long time, remember I was living in an apartment where they were like drilling through all parts of it. It was just really distracting because I was doing a lot more live streams and I couldn't do that. But I remember looking back and thinking, I never want to step foot in this place again. Bye-bye. And then I found a place where there was just some problems with termites and other things. And I put the key in the door and I'm like, goodbye to this place too. These were 2 bad experiences. And when you shut a door on something that wasn't what you wanted, it's so easy. But sometimes there is a feeling of nostalgia, like when you step away from a childhood home, or when it's your last day of school, or if you're divorcing and you've built a house together and you're walking out of that. There's sometimes where there's much more of a connection. So know that it is just a space at the end of the day, and that when that one door closes, you're going to get another key for another door, and you're hopefully it took me a few steps to find this place, but eventually I found the place that I was supposed to. So just give yourself time and say goodbye, knowing that it's not goodbye forever. There's going to be other doorways. There's going to be other things. And that's what we see here is, again, it's more of a revolving door where it's ends and beginnings. And I think that's something really to be mindful of here. This can be a close brush with a health issue, and you're going to be okay. We see you on the other side here. So as long as you heed the warnings of whatever it was that happened, then you'll be all right. Some of you are working too much, Some of you are pulled in too many directions, and it's going to be important to not do that for yourself in this period of time. If you carry heavy items for work, or if you're doing a move, or if you're doing anything with basically strain on the back, be very careful. Make sure that you actually ask for help or support. Both of these cards are stressed or strained, and I don't want you to pull a muscle or slip a disc. One thing that I learned with moving is just either get a lot of help and have people help you, or hire help if you can afford to, or take a lot of little trips. Don't try to carry it all at once. That's how I broke my foot. So be mindful of it. I'm good now. That was a year ago. But you have to take your time, and I definitely learned that lesson. Emotional highs and lows with the Nine of Cups. Pace yourself. Try not to feel like the sky is falling or it's the best day ever. Just kind of like take a deep breath and think, whatever I'm feeling, it isn't as intense as it's coming through right now. Otherwise, things are pretty good, folks. So it's work-life balance. It's making a necessary move. This is a move, this is a move, this is a move. And it's knowing that this chapter that you're starting now is probably even better than the one you just walked away from, even if it doesn't feel like it just yet. Okay? Good. Okay, let's move on to, you got 2 coming through for wealth. So I'm really curious to see what this is all about. So wealth comprises your resources, your life purpose, and your career. The camel. So interesting. There's no accidents. I was watching something about camels on TikTok the other day, and I guess they actually started in North America, like Canada and what's now the United States, but they walked across the ice or land bridge and made their way into Africa and to other parts, into Egypt. And then there's a few that are in South America. So the ones that went to South America became like alpaca and llamas. And then the ones that went into Europe basically became camels, or Africa, camels. So they're very adaptive. Here's the thing with all of that. And I'm not a biologist or a historian, but I remember that little thing. I'm like, wow, look at this. They've been able to last through the Ice Age and then beyond through adaptation. So when we're looking at work and wealth, be like the camel. Adapt. The other thing that they can do is store energy in whatever the sort of the fat cells or however they store the water. So it's also about planning for the future. So we think adaptivity here and or adaptiveness, and then also the ability to plan for a rainy day or a dry spell. I like this quite a bit. So you have the ability to make it through. You have the ability to thrive when others may not. This was reversed. Truth is my teacher. This is what I was kind of talking about in the first slide in my channeled messages. Accountability is everything. If you're in a place where people can't speak the truth or just are not accountable, it's time to vacate. When you start to step into your path of truth, you become the star. We saw the hermit energy coming through this week for some of the elemental signs. So you're already there. It's just a matter of really embracing the truth that is you. Okay? Let's look at some additional messages with wealth. I need to take another drink just because I talk a lot and I need to make sure that I can finish this. Okay. I already talked about these 2, but for the next big journey, next big step of the journey, if you need to move, transfer, relocate, you've got 3 cards about relocation. It'll be fine. The turtle tells me also to take your time in exploring where to go. That's the one thing I wish I pulled for myself last year. I would have just slowed down the pace of movement. Even though I was in a zone where there was like construction, I was living in the tower, I still should have just taken an extra couple steps. This place wasn't available, so I would have had to wait for the availability. So take your time. You'll know when it's exactly the right moment. Don't rush. All right, now let's look specifically at, I feel good about where you're headed with your money and your resources. So it feels like some of you in the past worked from a place where there wasn't enough, and as a result, you've been very careful or very mindful of saving for the rainy day, like the camel, or for, like I said, for a dry spell. So keep up with that sort of future planning. It's going to bode well for you. It feels like some of you are also learning to be very self-sufficient, because that's what the Nine of Pentacles is the epitome of. This is also saying you might be torn between 2 equally weighted options. So for those that are looking for a job, you're weighing the opportunity here. There's one that may not give you as much time as you want. It may be very lucrative. Make sure that you have enough time. So if you get a promotion and you have a better title, but you have no time to spend with your friends, family, or your pet, is it worth it? So this is weighing the options, work-life balance. I see for many of you, it's not about going from this is an upgrade coming, but it's the question of what's the trade-off. So look at the opportunity cost for whatever it is that you're doing. If you've been going through a period of, well, for some of you, this is just a life change. I've kind of looked at the way that I approach this differently. So some of you may be entering or re-entering the job market, and this can be booting or rebooting. So this is the ultimate card for that. If you got laid off, if you just graduated, if you started a family and now they're grown up and you want to go back to work, this card is showing you, you've got this. But it's like you're going to have to repackage things a little bit. Don't let your emotions get in the way. Be creative. Be really imaginative about how you can repackage everything that you do. Okay? And I think ultimately we see expansion. We see an opportunity that's opening up. I see a move that is probably necessary to manifest this opportunity, but we have manifestation and opportunity knocking. So I like what I see. This is a good period of time, but it has to feel true to you. And know that even if you're thinking, can I adapt? The camel, which had no business being in that stack, it somehow just fell in there. I was like, all right, we'll read the camel. It's coming through saying you've got this. All right, let's move on to love. We have unconditional love, the divine mother coming through. So before we even get into anything romantic or anything of that nature, this is actually about loving yourself, and also about, for those of you that may have a challenging relationship with one or both of your parents, or someone who is in your life as a mother figure, it's your chance to sort of make peace with that. It says, thank you, Divine Mother, for helping me to give and receive the love that I deserve. In cards, this is like Queen of Pentacles or Empress energy. So, I mean, I really like this because there's healing that's available to you when you, at a certain point in your life, you just basically become mother, father, child all together. It's sort of like you don't need that. It's the family unit trinity. You have it all. So it's nice to get the support from your parents, but you don't necessarily need it if you're in a family where that's not offered. If you're like me and parents are in spirit, they're still there, but you're kind of carrying on the torch. If you need to do healing with someone that you loved, a partner or a child or a friend, and they're in spirit, you can continue to do that. If they're on the planet, this card is saying, why not take advantage of this moment to make the healing happen so you can move on to something else? Ultimately, and at the end of the day, it's just about loving and accepting yourself. When that happens, it doesn't matter if people say nonsense about you. It's sort of like, I know who I am, and now I know who you are. Thank you. I don't need to worry about you because you don't love me for who I am. So don't pay them any mind. Focus on other people who have that ability to love you unconditionally. I like to look at 3 different areas of love: those in love, looking for love, or single and happy. If you're in a loving relationship, it's a very pivotal moment for you because we have 2 expansive cards here, Judgment and the World. So this can happen when one or both of you have things in the periphery that are expanding. So movement in work, maybe losing a loved one, maybe getting married, because this can represent the end of one phase and the beginning of a new one. The cool thing is, what better place to be when this expansion happens than in the company of someone who loves you, as long as they love you unconditionally. What's an example of a lack of conditional love? If you would only do this, I would love you more. Why can't you be more like this? You need to do this in order to, stop. So if anybody's saying or thinking any of those things, even if it is meant to be loving, it's not. If you don't have that, this is the key to happiness here, is loving yourself and then having someone around you that loves you in that same energy. And if you do, sky's the limit, as we see with these 2. If not, then you're going to step out of that energy. You have a card of independence. You can make it on your own and you'll be just fine. So if you have that, great. we're just going to see expansion, a lot of love, a lot of conversation, a lot of ability to make more, sort of abundance. But if not, it's time to move on. I think the biggest challenge in happy relationships is having enough time together and making sure that you're not being overcommitted, even as a couple. You need to just have time to talk, time to love, and time to just enjoy and smell the flowers. Slow down the pace. For those of you looking for love, can you find it? Yes, because we have the High Priestess. Where is it coming from? Not from your current group of friends or people. This is a karmic relationship from afar or from a different group. So what do you want to do? You want to get out there and mingle, mix and mingle. This is a time for both. What's holding you back? Your schedule? As I said, maybe your money or resources or your relationship with money, resources, self-worth and wealth. So you can focus on getting that under control. And then it could also just be a really emotional time for some of you because there's a lot that you're dealing with. Again, it could be loss, it could be gain, it could be change. All of these things, have an effect on our mental state. So definitely feel free to talk to someone if you need to during this period. Pace yourself. But it looks good overall once you get there. I just feel like there's a couple steps to take, and then I see someone that's worth the wait. If you're single and happy, travel, business. I always tend to see both travel and movement with your finances here. But I think the main thing for you is you're focusing on maybe getting something started, putting something into like a contract, you're signing a contract or you're getting something moving this week. So it's just a very productive week. But we do see finances and we do see people being very open to saying yes. So I see something moving forward, a productive week. Okay, let's move on to destiny. So we have, for some of you, this sort of hermiting energy that we talked about earlier. You may also have accomplished a lot of what you wanted, and you're thinking to yourself, "Is this it? Is this all?" And no, the Hermit card is just a state that we go through in order to figure out who we are, what we want, and then basically to walk away from that to figure out like what's next. So it might be time to step out a little bit. Some of you may need a little bit of quiet time. Typically, I see something like this as, a sort of semicolon. Spend as much time as you need to in that state, but then when it's time to move out of that, do so, okay? Let's now take a look at your big idea. So, what you need to know. Let's kind of focus on the one thing that you could really put your energy into the most in this period of time as the big idea. What's the one thing you've been missing, the one thing you need to focus on? And let's see here. Ooh, I like it. All right, so we have a Knight of Pentacles here. We see an ox or a bull here. When I look at that and I think of money or finance or career, being bullish on the future is very good. This is about things expanding and moving. It's also about really figuring out when and where to sort of like stand your ground, get excited, dig in, get all of that energy from this cute little cow here. So I think right now you may be underestimating yourself. I think that when things start to take off, it's kind of like this animal has the ability to charge. So things may start slow, but they're going to end in a much faster pace. So don't judge the future by the present. See this ability for things to really take off here. The Knight of Pentacles is not afraid to take the reins, to raise their hand, to speak up, to move where they need to be moving. It's a very empowered and a very sort of driven energy. So if you can get driven and focus on that sort of inspiration, I feel like a lot can come through in this period of time. So we still have one more card that we're going to pull here, but I like to put a little meditation before that. So before we even get there, again, a quick reminder to show support if you haven't already, and a quick thank you to all that have been doing that through super stickers and super chat. here's how this works. We're going to start off with a meditation, and then I'm going to move into a final card. What's the final card? If there's anything that I haven't yet answered as far as you're like, Nicholas, I really need to know more about this, and the general reading didn't provide it. No problem. All you need to do is meditate on that while we're listening to the singing bowl here, and then I'll pull a card right afterwards. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'd like you to close your eyes, if you would, please, and take a nice deep breath, sit up tall, and on the exhale, release any fear, tension, anxiety, or lower emotions that you might be holding on to. Just let it all go. Allow yourself to kind of get into a nice, easy position, kind of laying back in your chair, or just sitting still. And I'd like you to focus, if you will, on the new dawn of a new day. Imagine that you are looking out, possibly at, this morning there was some fog in LA. So maybe there's a little bit of a fog that's sitting over top of a body of water. And just beyond that, you can see the murky light of the sun. So imagine, if you will, that each breath you take starts to cut through the fog until the sun is visible and a single ray of light shines all around you. And it as well begins to lift the fog. So as you continue to breathe in this light, with each breath that you take, you breathe the light in your mind, body, and spirit. With each exhale, you clear the air. You're clearing confusion. You're clearing excess thoughts. You're allowing for the crystal clarity of the sunlight to come through. Just basically allow that golden light to be infused in your auric field. Allow it to go to your solar plexus so you can stand up for yourself, so that you can feel like you can birth or create new things. And let's just enjoy the sun during this meditation. To the horizon, almost as if there is this beautiful path paved of gold in front of you. No doubt of what the next step should be. Feeling empowered, also feeling this sense of love, confidence, and unconditional love for yourself, since that came through. All right, welcome back, everybody. I'd like you to turn your attention, if you will, to your final question. Open your eyes if you haven't already. Ask that question mentally, and let's get an answer. Let's see what Spirit has to say. We've got a lot of knights that came through. We have the Knight of Cups in the center. We had, for the big idea, the Knight of Pentacles. Now we have the Knight of Wands. All right, so Knight of Wands, upright position. It's a yes. If you're asking me, a yes, no. It's also saying believe in yourself. Although you might have asked me just to kind of get, support or clarity on it, it's saying when you believe in yourself, then the sky's the limit. I love this lion on the front. It reminds me of like the Wizard of Oz. And that really is kind of the lesson of all of the different characters, from like the Tin Man to the lion to the scarecrow. They all had what they needed, but they had to kind of walk through the journey. And it was almost like a ceremonial thing from the wizard. He just gave them like these plaques and things, but they always had or embodied the energy that they needed, just like Dorothy knew how to get home. But you have to sort of believe in yourself, right? So believe in yourself, and your belief becomes a very attractive trait for others, because they're like, I believe in that too. I can feel the fire, I can feel the passion. And this is a time to kindle or rekindle passion or fire in your life. There could also be a really great energy walking into it, a good friend or a good love interest. I like what we see here with the Knight of Wands. Really beautiful Knight card as well. And again, be courageous. It's kind of interesting that we worked on the solar plexus, and we have here a card of courage and fire and belief. Okay? So there's your answer to that. Also, take an idea to the next level, because this is getting closer to innovation or to kind of bringing something to fruition. And that, my friends, is everything for this week. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks to everybody who did show support through liking and subscribing. A reminder, if you ever want to make sure that you don't miss out on one of my monthly readings, you can join me across social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. There are some imposters that pop up from time to time. So if they put numbers or underscores or spaces, big old red flag, that's not me. If you ever want to make sure you're getting the right person, you can always go to my website or just right here on YouTube, the About page. There's a link where you can click there and see everything. If you want to give back in a guaranteed way to show support, you can do it through super stickers, super chat, and memberships. I see a bunch of those right now. So I'm going to pause here for a moment and say thanks to everybody who has given back. So let me do that. Whether it's your first time or you've been a long-time viewer, I'd also like to just say thank you for being a part of this. All right, so I may miss a couple of people when it comes to gifting of memberships, but I know Dakota saw those, and I always watch this video on my own afterwards, so I'll be able to see that when I go back. All right, so we're going to start off first with just saying hi to all the members, whether you purchased it or you were gifted it, and at the end, I'll try to see who I missed. Okay, so thank you to Samantha, Raluca, Jean, Victoria, Journey, Conception, Andrea, JC Garrowsmith, Jennifer, JD, Inga, Leslie, Susanna, Liza with a Z, Georgia, Truth Lane, T. Bruce, and let's see, something's missing on that one. Natural Light or something like Natural Light Hung or something. I can't read that one. Sorry, it's cut off a little bit. But thank you to all of you, whether you joined or you rejoined or you were gifted. I do appreciate that. Give me a moment here to say thanks with the super stickers and super chat, and then we'll move on. All right, so today, Catherine, thank you for kicking things off. Also to Jackie Lind, 24, Shabelle, 1016, Mercathia, Kathy, Monica, and Wendy. You guys rock. I appreciate it. And I think I got everybody. Give me 1 second here to recognize any milestones that I can still see. Let's see. Catherine, thank you for gifting. I appreciate that. Let's see who else. I know we had some other milestones, but I can't see all of them. Sarah LaRock, thank you for being a member for almost 20 months here, 19 months. Lorna, thank you for 2 years of membership. You rock. Let's see who else. That's all I can see here because there was a lot of chat. So I know that Dakota has called out everybody else. And thank you to those that gifted memberships as well. It's a great way to grow the community. All right, everyone, that is it. Remember to join me every Monday, Thursday, and Friday. When I generally drop videos, I'll always tell you if there's an exception to that. You can also check me out every day for a single card reading to help you navigate whatever's going through. And I'm here every single Sunday. So if you ever just need a quick pulse check on what's going on, join me. This reading will be available on replay immediately afterwards. Thanks to everybody. Thank you, Dakota, for your help today and for putting all the links here in chat. Marianne, thank you. I just saw we got one last sticker there as well. All right, folks, that's it for today. Lots of love and light. Have a great week ahead. It looks like it's going to be good. If I could leave you with one thing, it's pace yourself. Go at your own pace. All right, until I see you again, wishing you lots of love and light. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.